Have you ever wondered why, no matter what you try, your autoimmune symptoms just won't let up? Are you tired of living in constant symptom management mode instead of truly healing? Well, what if I told you that the way you see yourself, your very identity, might be the missing piece to your healing journey? If you can relate to that, you're not alone. So many women with autoimmune conditions struggle with the cycle of flare ups, fatigue, and just total frustration while searching for deeper answers, but not knowing where to turn. Welcome back to the Health Bridge podcast. I'm Holly B, and I help women with lupus and other autoimmune conditions reduce flares, gain energy naturally, so they can return to their passions and purpose. Today, I'm joined by Angela Jean, a mindset disruptor and thought pattern expert who specializes in identity training, somatic practices, and break free from energy blocks and old patterns. We're diving into how shifting your identity and healing on a mind, body, soul level can actually transform your healing journey. By the end of the episode, you'll know how to start reprogramming your inner world so your body can finally catch up and begin to heal. Stick around because we're going to be answering the question, what if your healing starts with who you believe you are? Before we dive in, please take a moment to like and subscribe to this podcast. It makes a huge difference in helping us reach women who need inspiration and real life tools to help them navigate their healing journey. Angela, welcome to the podcast. I'm so happy to have you here.
Always excited to be here.
You do a lot of work with mindset rewiring so that we can create better patterns in our life, in our body, in our mindset. I think that so many of my listeners, they're struggling with symptom management. They're in this autoimmune struggle. I call it the fuzzy umbrella of autoimmunity. They get really stuck in this wheel of symptom management. And I know that you talk a lot about identity. And can you kind of explain how the way we see ourselves might actually be what is keeping us stuck?
That's a big question. Let's start with the energy because there's a big difference. And I always say you have to be very intentional with your healing. You can't la-di-da this. You know what I mean? You have to have systems in place, locked and loaded when the triggers hit, whether that's a mood or whatever that is for you. Through studying energy, I learned there's two different modalities. When you're dealing with, let's just say, chronic daily stress about love and money, that is an imprint. So anytime we're dealing with maybe chronic daily stress loops about love or money, what we need to understand is that is an imprint. That's a distorted imprint. That was something that was learned. Okay. So there's a different method for that. When we're dealing with anger, anxiety, that is raw emotion. So a lot of people, what they tend to do is if they feel angry or if they feel anxiety, is they're told to breathe. Just breathe, they're told. That does not work because the problem is you have to meet the energy where it is. Because the minute the energy feels seen, meaning acknowledged, it feels safe. But so many of us are like embarrassed that we're angry, embarrassed that we have anxiety. So we stuff it down, we slap a smile on our face, and we act like nothing's wrong. And this is a big part of living these fragmented lives. We really have to learn to unite how we feel with what we say and what we do. So I probably am one of the few people that say, if you're feeling angry, because this was one of my journeys, you meet aggression with aggression. You cannot meet it with breath. It's too much. There's too much polarity between the anger you're feeling and this calm breath you're trying to force on it. So I always suggest meeting the energy where it is, meaning if you are feeling angry about something, doing something aggressive with your body. I'm talking like running in place, punching. If you're going to do a breath, it has to be a big breath of fire, like something aggressive to tell the emotion, I see you. It's okay. I acknowledge you. And then you can essentially walk it down the hill and calm it down. And in the process of meeting aggression with aggression is that you kind of dissipate the energy that's spinning because it is spinning, it needs direction. And so in the process of maybe punching or jumping or whatever you choose to do, whatever works for you, you dissipate the energy and then you naturally will take that breath And we all know that that big belly breath is another signal of safety to your nervous system. Because what happens in the wild, right, when an animal like escapes something that's trying to kill it, it's like, hey. Or in the movies, you know what I mean? We're being chased by a killer. What do? We hold our breath till the killer's gone. And then it's like, so it's really imperative that you know what you're working on and have a method in place for you.
Very individualized. Yeah.
1000%.
I just recently did an interview with a homeopathic practitioner. And with homeopathic medicine, it's like cures like, which really goes along energetically with exactly what you just said. I think that's oftentimes where just saying affirmations can really fall short because people are trying to, say we're doing money or abundance. It's like we're just barely getting by paying our rent and we're saying, I am wealthy beyond imagination. It's like that doesn't match up. You can't latch onto that, right? So, same idea.
Yep, it creates more harm than good. You're creating cognitive dissonance within your body. That's why it's funny. That's why with my audios, I have found a way to bypass the mind's defenses. We'll talk about that later, but there is a way to do affirmations where you can not have the left side of your brain call bullshit on you. It's like, oh, you're loved? Where? I don't see anyone. You know what I mean? You're rich? Really? Look at that stack of bills. I always say your mind is like a husband and wife. You got to get them on the same team.
I love that analogy. So, when we're talking about opening the door to possibilities, right? And I work with my clients on this as well with creating a healing mindset. It's like we can't fully heal if we don't have the mindset that that's even a possibility. We can't go from stuck in full blown symptoms to I am healthy and vibrant. The body's and the mind's not going to accept that. So it's about those kind of small baby steps and just cracking open the door to the possibility of healing. Talk us through that a little bit. So many people know that mindset matters, but they don't really know how to start. That just sounds really abstract. From your perspective, how can we start that shifting of the mindset to actually impact the things that we're physically feeling? I know you work a lot on love and abundance and that sort of thing, but what I think this also impacts inflammation, pain, things like that.
Yeah, blocked energy will find a way to manifest. I've looked back at my family and seen what they died of, and I knew what they didn't heal. And it's a map. The body's a map. I always say you change the way you think, you change the way you feel. One thing we have to realize, guys, we are training in the background, whether we know it or not. We are training a version of ourselves with every single tiny decision. So step one is just cultivating that awareness. When you open your fridge, what you choose is training a version of you. Are you a healthy version of you today? Or are you unhealthy version? And they don't always have to be perfect. It's just making sure there's balance there and also being aware of the fact that you are training. So it begins with awareness, and you have to start training in the right direction. In regards to what you do with your clients, I have to assume, I mean, I'm not really that knowledgeable with it, but feeling good is probably something that they don't focus on much because there's probably a lot of
They're focusing on the pain. Yeah.
Or like with any training, you start small and build, guys. You got to write this down too, because when you write it down, your mind is focused. I would get up in the morning. I would just say, just train your mind. What felt good today? And kind of all day long, does something feel good right now? If so, write it down. You're training your mind to focus. And it is, start small and build, as you say. You have to train. Like if it's with money, if you find a penny, oh, wow, I found a penny. And it sounds stupid, but you are training micro movements in your mind. You're training your mind. And if I look at you right now, I'm looking at you. If I change slightly here, my view is completely different. I see trees, balconies, and a building. You know what I mean? I'm just saying these micro pivots are huge. We can't underestimate just starting with a log every day, because that is how you begin to train a better version of yourself. The version of you that sees, maybe I do feel a little bit better today. Maybe there is a possibility I'll meet someone. Maybe I will come up with an idea and something will come from that. Or maybe I'll meet that person. You know what I mean? It really starts with what you say is those micro movements of possibility. Because if you are focused on the problem, you will have a problematic life.
Honestly, with that one quote, we could end right there and be like, this is the lesson because it's so true.
And the bigger problem is something about the human experience. We think everything has to be difficult, expensive, hard, or miserable. We seem to have a hard time wrapping our mind around the fact that, wow, if I journaled today or looked in the mirror and said something positive to myself or listened to an audio for an hour, that's all I need to do. We need to hear that it's going to cost $500. It's a therapist that takes 2 hours to get into because the waiting list is so long. And we're going to sit there and it's going to be hard. Like, that's going to work. We're convinced that'll work. You know what I mean? But not if it's just us with our pen and our paper and maybe an audio and just, eliminating XYZ.
So what you're saying is we actually have the power within us. We just have to recognize it and we have to learn the little micro steps to getting there. And I always like to say, focus on 1% better each day, just 1%, because it's that same thing when you're saying, I can either stare directly at you through the screen or I can shift just a little bit and then I'm seeing a completely different view. If we take that 1% shift over the span of 6 months or a year, that trajectory is completely different.
1000%. And I just wish people would commit to just do it. Do it for 2 weeks. What do you got to lose? You know what I mean? Just to prove it to yourself. Some people want to fight to stay the same. And it's like, fight for your limitations. You get to keep them. Number one, stop talking about them. Find a different way to talk about them. What if this? I remember when, or actually, if you want to talk about, you know what? This is actually perfect. I just came up with this. If you're someone that really struggles with just talking about your problems, slap this on the beginning of it. I remember when I was so pissed at my ex-husband. I remember when I felt shitty every day. I remember when I couldn't pay my bills. Just like at least put that in front of it. And that's a pivot. There's little tricks that we can do that are very powerful.
I love that. I remember when, it kind of takes it just slightly, you're like one step removed.
Totally.
But it gets you connected to seeing.
It allows you to still talk about your shit.
Yeah.
Eventually, it'll just feel different within your body. And that's the really interesting thing to observe because you're thinking about it differently just by slapping that little intro on it, So it's really powerful. I just get so excited when I talk about it because I am proof of concept, Like,
yes.
I just really wish I could just take everyone's problems and transform them and hand them back. But that's not the way the human experience works, unfortunately.
Right. We do actually have to do the work ourselves.
And it just makes for such a beautiful life story when you look back, guys. Like, I really picture myself like when I'm going to be an old lady, all the chapters of me. And the horrible ones are some of the most exciting to tell. You know what I mean? Once you, become the better version of you, it's just a really beautiful life story.
There is beauty in the pain, as much as it sucks to admit that. There really is, because it creates the opportunity for transformation and growth.
You live like such a colorful life.
Who wants a boring life?
Like, I really want people to embrace all the different versions of them.
Just to backtrack a little bit, you were saying, I remember when. I just want to hammer that home a little bit, because what I'm understanding, what that's doing is we get stuck in the past so easily, which is what helps perpetuate those patterns. And so when we are, say, talking about our shit to our girlfriend, we're often talking about it and we're feeling it emotionally as if it's still happening, whatever that thing was. And so if you are putting that I remember when in front of it, like I said, that gives you that one step removed. And it takes away some of the immediacy of the emotion and the feeling of it, because that part of your brain doesn't understand timeline. It doesn't understand that that was in the past. It's recognizing the emotion as this is happening right now. It's creating actual chemical processes to trigger in our body to get us into that fight or flight or freeze.
Yeah, it's like taking the defibrillator paddles and bringing it. Anytime you feel anytime you feel an emotional charge, you're keeping it alive. That's how you know you're really over something. That was a test I did when I was on my journey. I talked about something that really charged me. And once it didn't have any charge, I was like, oh my God, it's gone.
Well, let's talk about your journey just a little bit to give our listeners context. What you've gone through a lot and you've worked through a lot to get where you are. Tell us a little more.
Yeah, so I was raised by very abusive step parents. I had physical abuse on one side and sexual abuse on the other. So I ended up running away at 13. Lived on the streets, raised myself. With that comes lots of fun. But anyways, once I found my way and kind of made my own family through friends, it wasn't until I reconnected with my family around 18 years old that I just really started connecting the dots because I had been removed for so long that I started understanding that this is not normal. You know what I mean? Because when you're in it, you don't realize that. And then shortly after, my dad committed suicide, my little sister committed suicide. There was a lot of back-to-back deaths. And then my mom died directly after that. That really threw me on to my spiritual journey. That's when I really started just noticing how different. I mean, I felt different at the time. I mean, we all have our traumas, but I just didn't have anyone that was sharing with me. So I just thought like I'm so different. And that's when I really, really just wanted to be the chain breaker in my family and figure out what the F all this was. Like, what is this noise? How do I not end up like this? How do I change? How do I not punch people? How do I not throw things? Like, I just knew I was different in the sense that I was angrier. I was jealous, more jealous in my relationships. When I went through a breakup, I was like suicidal. And I didn't see anyone else like that. I'm like, why am I so like intense? You know what I mean? So through trying to figure all that out is when I really landed on studying energy and learning how to redirect negative thought patterns, because that's where, the suicidal tendencies come from. For me, it was like the thinking, the thinking, the thinking. And that's really when I just dug my heels in. But this was a 10, 15-year journey. I just had my 50th birthday 3 days ago. So it's never too late.
Happy birthday. Are you Libra? You're not quite a Libra then.
I am a Libra.
You are a Libra. I am too. So no wonder we're connecting so well.
Well, half people are Libras. I mean, I know we sound like girls right now, but
Love it.
it's just like, that's why I say, guys, it's funny how, like I say, to really look at the things you're embarrassed about, like the fact that I dealt with some sexual abuse. Now I use my body to train the mind. The fact that I was so physically abused that I never would speak. I wanted to be as small and quiet as possible. Now I use my voice on all my audios. When you really track back to like, holy shit, all the things I suppressed are the vehicles I'm using now for my soul journey, for my purpose. So many people can't find their purpose. I really believe it's in those dark little yucky things that you experienced, like what were you suppressing and shutting down? Because that has so much energy, so much data of unmet needs that if you can give that a voice and let it surface, you have no idea how powerful that would be for yourself and for everyone else, that hasn't found that voice yet.
And that speaks so beautifully to this community that's listening to us, because we've been through some shit. We've been through some symptoms. We're still going through symptoms, And for me, my health journey became my mission to share this. This is why the podcast exists. This is why my coaching program exists, because we need women to be able to shine their light and be their best selves, because that's how we affect the world around us for the better. I kind of had to figure this stuff out myself as well. I didn't have help from any medical doctors for a long time. I finally found some good ones that understood what was going on. But, largely I was left to my own devices to figure this stuff out. And it was a long, meandering path. And I'm still learning, of course, but it shouldn't take that long for us to figure out or be taught how to take care of ourselves on a foundational mind, body, soul level. And so, like I said, my pain turned into my purpose. And not that everyone listening has to use their pain for their purpose, but we can learn to heal so that we can connect with whatever that purpose is, even if that purpose is just diving into your gardening because you just love it and it makes you so happy and fulfilled, or being the best mother you can be, or the best teacher you can be, whatever it is. We need to be able to turn our light back on from the inside in order to do those things that affect the world for the better.
Powerful thing to do in regards to that is, we talked about the nervous system for a second earlier. Like, anytime you've experienced any trauma, our nervous systems are powerful and they're doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. And we need to thank them. I think that we live fragmented lives. Like, the way we think is one way, the way we feel is another.
Hey, I just wanted to jump in here and interrupt the program for just a hot minute. You know that I'm so passionate about this podcast, but what I'm also really passionate about is helping women with lupus minimize their symptoms, boost their energy so that they can indulge in life again. So if you are a woman who is struggling with lupus, who is sick and tired of being sick and tired, who's struggling to manage your flares, if you're finding that your lupus symptoms are just really getting in the way of you being able to live your life the way you want to, I feel you. I've been there myself and I felt the same way. And what I've found is that there are a certain set of health fundamentals that once applied, will support you in your foundational health. They will support you in building and maintaining that energy, minimizing flares, and allowing you to, again, indulge in life and follow your passions. So, if that is something that you are interested in creating for yourself, let's jump on a call together. I will walk you through the process that I use with my clients to get them from sick and tired to strong foundation of health by implementing my Health Bridge protocol. If this is something you're interested in chatting more about, I would love to talk to you. Apply for a free clarity call with me, and I look forward to getting to know you soon. And now back to the episode.
We believe this, but we don't say that because they believe that. You know what I mean? We're so fragmented. It's like, how do you unite your entire system, right? A big thing that I do every single day, guys, every single day, because if you've experienced trauma, your nervous system is a lot more sensitive than the average person, meaning it gets triggered easy. If something offends you, annoys you, angers you, hurts you, you lock fast. You lock faster than someone who hasn't. So really start paying attention to your body. Anytime you start feeling any anxiety, any anger, any type of gripping, tightening, tensioning your shoulder, anything, stop what you're doing. And you have to train your nervous system that you are safe. Like literally stop. Get in your body. And just like take a second and be like, I'm safe. It's okay. Like talk to it like it's a little kid. It's okay. Like I know it sounds like nothing, but like I literally can drop in so fast now and it feels so good. Like, no, 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 it's okay. You have to stop your body from locking up because that also probably has a lot to do with what you do. I don't really know about autoimmune disease, but I would assume that locking up has a lot to do with the discomfort in the body.
Mhm.
You have to every single time, and eventually you'll train your system to stay open and only lock when you're really under attack. You know, the problem is if it locks up and you just stay like this all day, it's essentially the alarms going off, danger, 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 danger. And, you know, you feel the way you feel. And that's when nothing can get in, no love, no abundance, like everything, like any type of comfort, healing.
Yeah. And it keeps everything stagnated.
Yeah, your
Mhm.
body's just trying to keep you alive. It's not making you, it's not there to make you feel good, but it's also, you want to thank your nervous system. Don't get mad at yourself. Like, oh God, like, no, your system is magical. It's keeping you alive. It's like, wow, thank you. Okay, but we're good. We're good. It's okay. I really like, I still do it every day because I have abandonment issues, obviously. So anytime I feel a tightening, I'm like, no, 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 no. It's like training a puppy, bring him back over to the potty pad. No, 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 no. Go over here. Like, it's really important that you just wrap some lightness around it, whatever you have to have. Like, I always picture training a puppy because I work with a lot of doggies. Like, no, 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 don't pee over there. You know what I mean? Try to have some lightness about it.
I love that. So when we're in the middle of a flare up and our body's like, oh God, it's happening again, picture that energy as your own little puppy and talk to it soothingly, pet it. Like I saw you, for anybody that's just listening, not watching, tapping on your heart space.
Yeah, I like the sway. This is where you unite with your body. You have to do what feels good. Like, you got to play around. Does that work? Tapping the center or tapping your clavicle or just the sway? That's when you really, that's when you customize it for you. Don't just do what I say. That works for me.
Right.
There's a couple different options and what works for you. And that's what you have locked and loaded. You have to have something locked and loaded, ready, aim, fire. The minute your system locks up, guys, like this is when you're training. You are training a healthy version. You're training a version of you that is empowered because you got this. Nah, nothing's taking you down because you got this, because you have everything you need. You have to really start empowering yourself. Like, it feels so good. I get so excited.
I love your excitement. I love it. So talk
Like, when I talk about it, I could feel it, and I just want everyone to feel it.
Yes. Well, that's what we're, training people to do with these little hacks. So talk more about using somatic practices, because you were just talking about swaying or lightly tapping on the chest or the clavicle. How do we bring those practices in to start that 1% shift?
Well, like I say, I would combine it with, I don't like to complicate things. You know what I mean? I like to keep some simple. If we talk again, we can layer, but just to really get people started, it's like anytime you feel yourself locking up, pick something, sway, tap the center of your chest, but also, you guys, rhythm, slow. Rhythm signals safety because it's a predictable pattern. Your body and mind knows what's coming next. If you're like, no, you're sending, that's static, that's noise, like cadence is very important, whatever you choose. I also like to do hip circles if I'm seated. Like I say, people need to find what works for them and what feels good based on how tight their body is. Everyone's got different mobilities in their body. So I like to keep it simple with the somatic movement that I do work with.
And when we say somatic movement, for those that have maybe heard that term but don't know exactly what that is, like we're talking about swaying, but like what is that actually doing in the nervous system?
Everything is signaling safety. It's moving the energy and signaling safety. Everything you want is on the other side of feeling safe, period. Love, abundance, success. Until you feel safe, nothing's happening. It's just not, because you don't have clarity that you need. You don't have the certainty. You don't have the confidence. It's all in, like, if you think about it, I tell people to do a test. Like, I tell them to take a Swifter and put it behind their back, lock their elbows behind it like this, and just see what that feels like. And actually try to have a conversation. It feels so weird because your chest is open, everything's open, to the point where you almost feel vulnerable. Like I say, if someone were to throw something, it would just hit you in the face, right? Because you're so open. But because you trust, you feel safe. And that's what open feels like. But then when you take the Swifter away, feel how quickly you collapse and go back. And that just happens over time. Like I say, after a heartbreak, after, a betrayal, a disappointment, or just not believing in yourself, we just collapse into that protection mode. We have to open our bodies, give the energy direction, because otherwise it's just spiraling and it's destructive.
So it's not just about opening our minds to the possibility of healing on whatever level. It's also opening our bodies and using movement and using rhythm and using posture to also convey to your nervous system that we are safe, we are open, we are available for abundance.
Any type of mood is blocked energy other than joy. That's moving energy. I do a lot of meridian point massage. Every morning when I wake up, I'll take my knuckles and dig into my meridian point for fear, the bottom of my foot for fear, the top of my foot for anger, and the inside of my ankle for overthinking. Just a quick, like 30 seconds, it's like my little mini car wash in the morning. It feels so good. I'm not angry, I'm not scared, but a thought can trigger fear. Like me, what if I was late on the podcast? It could be the tiniest thing like this. Oh, I'm not set up yet. Like, that triggers an emotion that is stuck and spiraling. That's why it's imperative that we're doing things every single day. This is a lifestyle.
I mean, honestly, I had like a weird dream this morning and I woke up and I was like, dude, I didn't even know that side of my sister. Like, totally not my sister, but in my dream, she was like acting completely different. And I was just so taken aback. And when I woke up, I was like, what the heck? But even that can throw your nervous system off, even though logically I totally know that was just some weird random dream, right?
Yeah.
So, like you said, when doing these little practices as soon as you wake up can make a huge difference to reset for the whole day.
My first step out of bed, I step right into a nervous system reset. And that is just one step forward. You step forward on the inhale. When you exhale, you join the other foot and you affirm whatever it is. Mine is I am chosen, because like I say, I know what I'm working on. Like, even though I don't feel abandoned, it doesn't matter. It's so deeply imprinted from all the suicides and not being raised properly. Like, I know that's my thing. So even though I have someone I'm dating and it doesn't matter. I'm always working on that wound, because it'll show up in business. It shows up in different little places. You know what I mean?
Really quick, Holly B here. I just wanted to interrupt the podcast to ask you for a quick favor. Can you take just a moment to like and subscribe to this podcast on whatever platform you are listening in on? It makes a world of a difference. And the reach of this podcast, it takes like literally under 10 seconds. So go do that right now. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And now back to the episode.
Like, if my video doesn't get a lot of views, I'm like, oh, I don't feel, you know, that it's weird how it's like the abandonment, whatever it is you're struggling with, can creep up in all these little places. So I do that every single morning. I'm chosen, and I'm always working on the abandonment, because that's for me what blankets my entire life in little weird places.
Totally. And do you find with your clients that sometimes the roots of these abandonment issues or money issues or health issues are finally tied back to something in childhood that they had no idea was connected? Or do we even go that far with what you're doing? Does that even matter?
You know, it depends. I personally don't go that deep, because I really want people to focus forward on the version of themselves that they want to be. What I do tap down on, like I said earlier, is when it comes to love and money stress, those are distorted imprints. Those were learned, period. That's why I think I saw, did you download my audio? Is that you that downloaded?
I did.
Okay. So the reason why that's playful is because, like I say, it bypasses the mind's defenses. When I'm working with love and money, that's just a matter of recoding. That's not working on the belief, because that's a distorted imprint that you learned, like you say, growing up in your home. So the rhythmic riddle has actually got a lot of science behind it, because your mind won't call bullshit on the way I frame it. You know what I mean? You are talking and feeling good about love and money. The thing that we have to remember is that love was never the enemy. And so many of us, when we have a distorted imprint about love, whether our parents fought, whether we were abused by someone, we carry this belief with us that love is scary, love hurts. And so we keep love away. And so when we move into our interrelationships, the minute we start to feel love for someone or feel a connection, we push them away. And love is not the enemy, guys. Love feels good. Love is calm. Love is peace. And so why my audios are playful when it comes to love and money is because I'm reminding your system what it feels like to feel in love. I'm reminding your system that money is fun, money is freedom, money is flow, because that's just an imprint. So there's a difference. There's a very big scientific difference when you're dealing with these things. So it's just, you know, or these little new, like I say, these micro pivots.
Yeah, I think micro pivots make the biggest impact long term because they're also more sustainable.
Yeah.
When it comes to relationships, is codependency or overgiving or having a hard time setting boundaries within relationships, is that something that your practices can also work with?
Yeah, those are all imprints. It's just fear of abandonment. That all comes down to fear of abandonment, because I've been that girl so many times. I always say, who do you become in the process of dating who you're dating? Who do you become in the process of loving who you love? Do you become a better version of yourself, or, like you say, the people-pleasing, lack of boundaries person? I was that girl for so long. You know what I mean? You give your power away. It's a very vulnerable, unsafe way to navigate relationships.
Yes. And I see that very often in the autoimmune community, especially with women, is that we overgive, we
Men
lose
can feel
ourselves.
that. And men don't. Like, men can feel that. Like, we're all just thirsty for, like, identity. Like, who are you and what do you stand for? That is such a, it's just, for me, that's such a connector. Like, I don't want to be with someone that's agreeing with me and people pleasing and cut. Like, it's just like, oh God. Like, it's interesting when you really have a group or a boyfriend or whatever it is around you, and everyone has a really powerful stance. It's just, it's really inspiring. I don't know. That's, to me, like a really cool power group.
You're talking about abandonment. I think it also comes from lack of feeling worthy,
Yeah, of course.
right? Lack of worth, lack of self love. And so we overgive to try to get that love from external sources.
I have it to give. One of the things I did on my journey when I was at my bottom, because I had just given myself away, this is going to be too much information, but the guy that was like the man of my dreams threw me off his yacht. And that's when I was like, okay, this is probably not love. You know what I mean? It's like, duh. But it's like we just keep moving towards it. That was my bottom. And that's when I shut it down. And I was like, why did I allow this? And that question changed everything for me because I was so focused on, I give him so much love. Like, I'm so nice. I don't deserve this victim. And I got so sick of being a victim. Finally, it wasn't even my voice. It was like my higher voice or something and said, why did you allow this? And that question changed everything for me because that's when I started digging into the root. Like, why did I allow this? Why did I just give myself away? And in the process of meeting that out and really getting into the root of like my abandonment issues when I was younger, I made an oath to myself to really just isolate. I started cooking for myself every night. I started doing basically everything I would do for him because I was like, why don't I do that for me? Why don't we do things for ourselves that we do for the people that we love? So I started cooking for myself, full meals, lighting a candle, sitting with myself. I took myself to the most romantic restaurants, even though I knew I'd be sitting there alone amongst couples, just because I didn't want to have to wait for a plus one. I didn't want to have to wait to do the things I wanted to do. And at first it was so uncomfortable, but in the process, I also observed that just because someone is sitting next to you does not mean that they're not lonely. Because I would be sitting alone and sometimes I would feel less lonely than they looked, like certain couples that just don't even speak to each other. So that's when I really started learning about loneliness. And just in the process, guys, I really empowered myself and I started loving myself. And I didn't even know I didn't love myself, you know? You start loving yourself so much that you become so protective of yourself that your choices change. You don't let people, like, you know what I mean? You become very protective of your peace and of yourself. And that's when everything really shifted. So self-love rituals also very powerful, guys.
And so important when you're going through health challenges like autoimmune. You have to start putting yourself first. It's the only way. It's the only way forward if you want to get out of symptom management and that spiral downwards. You have to learn to put yourself first. And that requires that you love yourself more.
Yeah, but you have to go all in. Like people just hear that and they think it's so like, oh God. It's legit. You have to go all in. Like you can't just that doesn't count. If you're gonna cook for yourself, no. Cook for yourself as if the man of your dreams was there and you want to impress him and you cook like that. If you're gonna do a bath, do it as if you're with the man of your dreams. It's gonna be the most romantic bath in the world. Candles, music, like to the nines, guys. All in for you.
You created something, I believe it's called the Irresistible Identity Code. I would love to hear more about that.
That is my method for the most part. It's the soul sync sessions, but I kind of called it the Irresistible Identity Code. It's a system where you have a nervous system reset and then you have an identity training audio. The identity training audio are the thought patterns. Like, so it is essentially the rhythmic affirmations. You have to know what you're working on. And then there's a program dedicated to each one. Just to simplify it, it's separated into love, money, power means confidence, inner authority. So when they do that, like I say, it's a 2-minute nervous system reset, and then they have a 2-minute audio, and that's it. It's extremely powerful. Why? Because you're training your thought patterns. You're training a state of being. You're reminding your body what it feels like to feel in love with these little micro resets. I suggest to do them a couple times a day because why not? It's 4 minutes, morning, afternoon, and evening. But obviously people are going to do what they want. But there is a daily tracker. They're all 30-day programs. They come with digital journals. They're more built out. It is a 30-day program geared towards sculpting thought patterns. Because if you change the way you think, you change the way you feel, you change the way you act. And that's when shit starts to change.
It does. It does. And I love that you incorporate, like you've said rhythm multiple times, but in watching like going through your Instagram feed, no, you're really actually bringing music and musical rhythm into this to create a whole different type of experience.
That's a big part of meeting the energy where it is. Like you've heard a playful one, but there is music, like my programs for anger, it's aggressive music, you know, and my programs for healing, they're very they're cinematic. Like you feel the music is very, very important to me. I mean, I think for many people, like anytime you're going through something, everyone has their music that they can put on and feel better. And the reason why for that, you guys, is because when you put on a song that is meeting the energy where it's at, like I say, the reason why you feel soothed is because the energy feels met. And when it feels met, it feels seen, it feels acknowledged, it doesn't feel alone. So you're actually uniting yourself, the way you're feeling along with your nervous system. Like we don't even realize what we're doing and we're doing it. And that's why I say we are the healers. This whole time, like if we lean to music, it feels good. We don't know why. That's why, because we're meeting the energy where it is.
I get songs stuck in my head like crazy. Like they just pop in there. I don't even know where they came from. It's like,
It's the rhythm.
right. That's why I think that approach is so powerful, because if you can get used to listening to these particular rhythms that are helping on these particular things, and you can just automatically start referring back to that and have it on repeat in your head throughout the day, because of the music, it'll come back, I would think, so much more easily for recall. And
Oh
then
yeah,
just constantly training yourself.
1000%. And it starts off playful because you have to find your entry point. Sometimes you can't go too heavy. Like it's just your body, you know what I mean? You're just like, oh God, I gotta feel like, So sometimes the entry point is a little bit more playful. And then once you see the power of it, then you're like, okay, this is actually working. That's why a lot of my starter packs are a little more playful, just so you can see like, holy crap, I can't get this out of my head. Like, get it out. Then you can see the science behind it, that it works. And then we could be more intentional about, okay, now we're going to work on this thought.
I'd love to finish up with some quick fire questions. What's just one mindset practice that you personally lean on when you're feeling a little more triggered than usual, or life just feels a little much at the moment?
Like what I said before, drop right into that nervous system reset, that signal. That is a mindset. You're signaling to you're safe, you're okay. Don't let your body collapse, guys. Don't let the grip complete itself.
If you could tell your younger self one thing about healing, what would that be?
To not be ashamed of my anger, not be ashamed of anything I've gone through, because that in itself creates a fragment. And until you unite yourself with all of that you are, you can't really heal. If you're ignoring parts of you because you're embarrassed of them, you'll never heal fully. Your anger is energy, and it's the most powerful energy. Your pain is the most powerful energy. Let it surface, let it speak. It is packed with the data of your unmet needs. You have to unite yourself with this version of you.
Is there one book or resource or mantra that really impacted you on your healing journey?
There's too many books. The Toltec Secret to Happiness was big on understanding that our beliefs are not ours. That was huge. Right now, I'm reading A Changed Mind by David Bayer. I love him. But my mantra that I go by is that when one rises, we all rise. And that's imperative.
I cannot agree more, because I think we were speaking, I can't remember if it was before the podcast started recording or after, but that's the mission of what I do, is to help everybody rise by healing from the inside out. So
And especially with your clients, it's like the minute they have a shed of light and they could feel like, oh God, they can take that and run with it and tell someone else, oh my God, no, I felt this. We all become like a source of light for each other.
yes.
Hold the light, hold the light. If your clients feel one moment, hold that light and share it with somebody, because even in the process of sharing it, it's getting bigger, and then you feel powerful because, oh God, I did this and I helped this person. Like it births on itself.
It does. It's that ripple effect. It just ripples out and it doesn't stop.
Yeah, imagine if that girl helped that girl and then she came back and it's like, oh my God, that was helpful. Then this person feels more empowered and it even builds out their momentum. So it's just, it's really amazing.
I love it. I love it so much. Last question. What does healing on a soul level really mean to you? How does that look?
Healing on a soul level, for me, it's just the optimal feeling of peace and power. And power because you have so much peace. It's like, you really become unshakable. And that's such a stupid word to use, but it's just the most powerful, peaceful feeling you can feel.
And I guess this is actually the last question. What would you say to the woman listening right now who just feels like they're at their bottom?
My bottom is where it all began. And I know that sounds crazy, but that's when you really take literally pen to paper. And I think the most powerful question is like, why am I allowing this? For me, that question changed it. Why am I allowing this? and get in there and get raw and get real.
And why am I allowing this? Not why is this happening to me?
Why did I
Big
allow
distinction.
Or like, I don't like, it depends on, I'm trying to think if we could put that question on everything.
I believe in taking radical responsibility for where we are in our lives. And that doesn't mean that, I don't mean that in a way of causing shame. Like, how could I let this happen to myself? Not at all. It's an introspective. How can I grow through this? How did I add to the situation and how can I learn from the situation?
Yeah, to me, it brings you back to the root. Like, why am I allowing this? Like when my boyfriend chucked me off his yacht. Why did I allow this? At what point in my life did I learn that love was painful? It's kind of like more of that. When did I learn that this is love? And it circles back to my childhood when I was beat. And then she'd be like, I love you. You connect those dots. You'll remember. You'll remember when you decided that love was pain or whatever it is for you.
Angela, this has been a great conversation. I know everybody's going to want to find you. So where can they find you and your programs?
Angela Jean Chat is my handle for my Instagram and my YouTube, and everything is linked there. But I encourage you guys to download the 90-second audio. It's free. Listen to it for 2 days and just observe the science of how easy it is to have a thought pattern that wasn't your choice dancing in your head, because then you can see how you can actually sculpt your thought patterns. Because for me, that's the root, how we think about XYZ.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thought patterns to me are the way in. Thought patterns are the entry point. So anyway, it's playful. Like I said, you downloaded it. You downloaded it. But it will be dancing in your head and you're like, oh my God. But then you could just see that they do work and then you get intentional about it.
100%. And I love that it's a short, easy thing to add into your day. We're not talking about like, this has to take 2 hours.
Brush your teeth, make your coffee, turn it on, boom.
Thank you so much for sharing. I can't wait to see how many lives you affect as you go.
Oh my God. Yes.
Thank you so much to Angela Jean for sharing her wisdom on identity, mindset, and healing. I hope you're walking away with fresh insight into how shifting your inner world, your beliefs, your self-concept, and your energy can actually create ripple effects in your body and your health and extend outwards to heal your community on a larger scale. If this episode spoke to you, remember, you don't have to navigate autoimmunity alone. I'd love to support you on your journey. You can find my free daily lupus guide and symptom tracker in the show notes, or apply for a free health strategy call if you're ready to dive deeper. Until next time, take a deep breath, give yourself grace, and keep building your bridge back to health.